Hello, everyone. We're delighted to welcome Pratham Khandelwal, CEO and co-founder of Headfone. Headfone is a Fosun portfolio company, and Pratham co-founded the company in 2017 with Yogesh Sharma, his classmate from the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. Headfone is India's largest social audio platform where anyone can listen to audio content in multiple genres like stories, comedy, religion. It is the highest rated audio app with a 4.8 star rating and 3 million installs. Excuse me. Prior to starting Headfone, Pratham and Yogesh worked as software engineers at Facebook headquarters in California. At Facebook, Pratham led a team of 4 engineers to launch dynamic product ads, personalizing ads serving 1 billion users while optimizing for click-through rate and conversion rate. He grew the product from nothing to a $350 million USD annual run rate. We're also joined today by Executive Director of Fosun RZ Capital, Krishna Vinjamuri, and my name is Anushka Prasad, and I'm a Wharton MBA candidate and a summer associate with Fosun. Thank you so much for joining us, Pratham.
Thank you, Anushka.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Krishna, for being here as well. Just to start off the conversation, and for our audience that may not know you very well, can you describe Headfone?
Yeah, Headfone is a social audio platform where you can listen, record, and share audios, and it is a social audio platform with multiple genres like stories, religion, comedy, and the content is available in multiple vernacular languages.
And what was your founding story? What inspired you to start a social audio platform?
Yeah, as you have described, right? We come from a very deep technical background, but we have a very strong association with the content company that is Facebook. So we were anyway very attracted towards content and the social aspect. But why specifically audio? There's a story associated with it, specifically to me. So when I was in US, I've seen a number of times that my team members, who were mainly from the United States, they were listening to something and they had some emotions on their face. And this was something very new to me, because while hearing you have emotions, I thought it is definitely YouTube opened in another tab. So I asked them whether you have YouTube opened. So I said, no, I'm not listening to YouTube. YouTube is a video. I'm listening to audio. Then I said, how can you have emotion? Because to me, till that point of time, music was the only format in audio. And I asked, how can you have a laugh while listening to music? So he said, no, there's a lot more things are there other than music, and it is really interesting. And that's how I got introduced to this podcast world or radio shows and all those things. And at that point of time, serial podcast also became very famous. So that is one thing which started this thought process. And then I have discussed Yogesh. We came back to India, and we have created our own original audio series also. We liked the process, and we realized that the audio as a format is very different from other 3 formats, which is text, photo, and video, because those formats require eye to consume the content, where audio requires ear as the basic organ to consume the content. Secondly, audio as a platform doesn't exist. If you look at Google Podcast, iTunes, these are professional podcasting platforms. In terms of audio content, people have not been given the voice to speak it out. And that's what we are trying to do through Headfone.
That's fantastic. And I'm very intrigued by it. Krishna, what attracted you to the audio content play?
Sure. I think content is the first use case for adoption whenever someone comes online for the first time in their life. And we have seen waves of different formats of content coming to India. In the first wave, there has been video, which has been led by YouTube, and then a lot more of short form content that is more popular these days. I think we have close to about 450 million people on a monthly basis watching video in some shape or form in India right now. The second wave has been the music, like Pratham has mentioned on the audio. The initial wave from the audio side has been music listeners, and with Ghana, Savan, and several other options available right now, I think they are close to 200 to 250 million audio listeners on the music side, and that continues to grow as well right now. And we believe that the third wave will be non-music audio content that will come in the form of in different categories that we are used to, be it like stories, short comedy, short poetry, and so on and so forth. Right now, the consumption is about 50 to 60 million active listeners, but most of the content has been in English language, and most of the content is actually created in overseas, like in US, them creating podcasts and so on. The first set of listeners have been tier 1 listeners, but we believe that a lot of like a vernacular, 90% of Indians speak and communicate in vernacular languages, which is non-English. And for these people, the content has to be created, first to be created and then consumed. And a platform like Headfone will be super helpful with that.
Yeah. On that note, can you walk us through the Indian podcast market, and how does it compare to the United States and China?
Yeah, so we have looked at both US and China markets, and in China there are multiple companies in the non-music audio space. Be it like Himalaya is the largest one. They have like few hundred million people listening to Himalaya on a monthly basis, right? And they also have, like, if you are traveling in trains in China, people keep listening to different kinds of audio content there. Some of it is learning, some of it could be like music, which is the earlier use case. Some of it could be stories and so on and so forth. And there is also Lizzy in China, which is now gone public in US, and there are multiple other players as well. In the US market, again, it's been mostly podcasts driven, as I said, in English, and Cashbox is the largest player there. One thing that is very similar in both US and China that we found from the listeners of these platforms is that they spend close to 2 hours a day. Whoever comes onto this platform on any given day, they spend 2 hours. So it's like binge listening kind of a concept. So they might not come every day, but when they come, they spend a lot of time listening to long format content and multiple content pieces in that. So we thought this is something that could be interesting in India as well, because the context of India, at least in content consumption, will share many similarities with China, and there could emerge multiple players in this particular space.
Pratham, what do you think? I know that you have thoughts on the US and China market as well. And so how did you, when you were setting up Headfone, compare what you were doing to those markets and what already exists?
Yeah, I mean, so I think Krishna pointed out a lot of things which we can learn from US, China. I mean, specifically about the market size and the consumption, the binge listening format and all those things. I in addition to that, I would like to point out the few things where we can approach differently and for the better of our audience. And secondly, what we can specifically learn, because this is the fact that Chinese market and Chinese company has performed better than the US companies. And it is a very rare thing to find on a particular segment that Chinese companies is performing. So we can definitely learn from China. So one thing which is where we can leverage our as a platform thing. So so first of all, what we can learn from China that I would like to point. So in China, if you look at the podcasting industry in US, they always have been, this podcasting industry is the technology is mainly governed through this RSS feed technology, that you host at one place and you distribute from there at another place. So this is like the hosting is being done by one player and the distribution is done by another player. And this is why the consolidation of the data is not there. Like Facebook knows everything what you post, right? YouTube knows everything what you post. But on podcast, you post at somewhere and through the RSS feed, it is being posted. This is one thing. Second thing is the perception of the audio content has always been very focused on the knowledge side. And this is why it's only a few segments. It becomes a very niche category. There are very few segments in US also. I mean, the millennials has not been ramped up to this category. And this is where Chinese have done very differently. In Himalaya, they host the content. And in Lizzy, they give very social tools. The social overlay is also missing in US. No social overlay, like, comments. People are not interacting with each other. So this is the democratization of the process. Hosting, distribution, everything is on the same thing. And secondly, the entertainment category is also one of the things to appeal to the mass. So these are the things which we can learn. Other than that, I would just point out few things where we can approach differently. Is that like India can be very much social. Like in China, like the players like Facebook or YouTube. I mean, obviously these two players are not there, but the analogy the Facebook type players or YouTube has not been very famous, because you can't be very social of the political spectrum which is there over there. But in India, I mean, people are doing on Twitter, YouTube, they can just speak. So that is what we can also take the leverage. Second thing, we have to identify that our average age group is very different from US and China. US and China has 38 as an average age, but in India it is 27. So our taste is slightly different. I mean, we can't just put everything as a knowledge. We have to transform them through entertainment to knowledge. And the third thing is the vernacular aspect. That is definitely very crucial in India. Like in India, languages, like in US, you can have 1 or 2 languages, Spanish or English. And in China, only one dialect is there, Cantonese, Mandarin. But in India, I mean, I can't comment on one particular language. So that is why this is social, UGC, all these things has to play out. That's why these platforms flourish in India.
And just to add to what Pratham has been saying, the complexity of vernacular when you overlay on content increases. The complexity goes up, right? Because if you have 1 or 2 languages, even if limited set of people create the content, that will be applicable to a larger set of people. But here, if you say English, only 10% of the people speak. Hindi, a large section speaks, but still maybe it could be like 40-45%. Then you have Bengali, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Marathi, Gujarati, and so on and so forth. So you actually need content, and that means like in so many different languages, that means you also need a lot more content creators in India compared to like how many you would need either in China or in US. Which means that a platform kind of a play will become much more powerful because these creators do not exist right now. And you need to get so many more creators out there to do this. And that means a platform play which can actually groom these creators to continuously improve their quality will become a key success factor.
On that note, it's very exciting to hear about vernacular languages. How do you get content creators onto your platform, and how do you encourage people from different parts of the country to participate and tell stories?
Yeah, I mean, so to this question, I mean, just giving one line of answer would just underplay this fact that there's a lot go into building this creator community. I mean, so just quick answer is to give them the good tools and the community for them to incentivize, because right now is the platform is not monetized. So the incentives is like they want to interact with the community. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter has been running like this. So that is one thing. But now what details goes into this? So first of all, on the creation side, I mean, you can build a lot of technology. But the technology is one thing, but streamlining the whole process in such a way that you can achieve a good quality content in just few clicks. That is a major play in the product design. That is what we have been doing. Like Photoshop was there to click good photographs and everything, but people were not doing it. But what Instagram has done is just a few click thing to beautify your images. That is what we do. Like we give a good creation tools, but without complicating the stuff. So that is one thing. Second is, now let's say if we have given the good tools and we are now people are creating the content, but what retains them? They can start creating the content. What retains them? That is why we have built our own personalized machine learning algorithm to actually keep every detail of the user to match them. Like what they are listening, at what time they are listening. I mean, with audio, at what time you are listening is very important. I mean, video, it may not be important, but audio, like in the morning, most people likes to listen religious content or business news or the news. But in the night, they want to listen horror stories or some love stories. So this is very different. We have to identify the time, format. If the content is short format, and they want to listen short format content, comedy is good for them. But if they like to listen long format content, religious content or the stories is good. So these are the few details which we actually build features on. And this is how on top of these features, we have built a machine learning algorithm. That is the second thing to personalize. Third thing is to give the social aspect. I can tell you one minimum, and it is a psychological thing. And this is actually I got to know, like while working in Facebook, that the psychological things may sound very very trivial once you build it, but it is the decision you take. Like if you look at YouTube does not show you who has liked your video. And that is why likes is not a significant thing. People actually look out for comments. Likes is okay, we got 4 likes, 5 likes, what does it matter to me? But if you look at Instagram, Twitter, people actually are craving for the likes. And this is why from the first day we have a complete profile who are liking your comment. Very genuinity. I mean, you may hide this and you can actually extrapolate your data. I mean, you get 10 likes, I can change the data to like you give you 20 likes. But this is not how the community is built on the long term.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these creators, because we need to get them from so many different languages, Headfone does have professionally generated content, but a large number of creators are actually people like you, me, regular everyday people who are good at doing something. And what they want first is some kind of recognition from a broader audience than whom they tell the stories to right now, which could be their friends and relatives and so on. So if you enable that as a platform, then that will make the creators come back again and again. That will motivate them to communicate and create more content on the platform.
How many content creators are there on Headfone right now?
So it is beyond 60 to 70,000. It is more than 70,000 content creators we have.
And what parts of the country are you seeing these people? Where are they coming from?
So actually we from the initial, if you ask, we have got so many creators from like Delhi, Mumbai, Banaras, Lucknow, all these. But recently there is a surge in number of creators coming from West Bengal. And those are the best content creators, I'm telling. I mean, they have a very highest retention. And the most important thing which I have seen, I mean, I think there's a lot to learn from Bengali content. They don't prepare the script and everything. They have the script in their mind, and once they start telling you the story, it's very good story. So this is what we have been seeing.
Yeah, I am sure like all the greatest literary giants in India are from Bengal. So
makes sense. It's in the culture, in the genes. What kind of content do you see has the most traction? So
right now, what we have been seeing is mainly on the story side. So actually, it is a very 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 important thing that we have identified that even religious content is becoming very famous. Even there's one channel, highest retention if we have on a particular channel is in the education section. But is in the education highest. But the point here I'm telling to you is like, why stories? The stories are performing very well, but this storytelling aspect can be leveraged into different categories also. I'm telling you one example. In the religious section, there were a lot of channels who were doing pravachan kind of thing, moral science lecturing kind of thing, like bullet points. This is right, and that has a lot of subscribers, but people were not coming regularly because it is difficult to consume the content regularly. But once you got the script behind the religious thing, this is religious stories, right? Sai Baba stories or any like Ramayana, all those stories, then people become very daily active. So this is storytelling aspect is really good. And that is what we are also telling our content creators, that whatever you are sharing, if there is a storytelling aspect, and this is what we are building the tools also to give you the storytelling aspect.
So what do you think, given all of that, sets you apart from your competitors?
I mean, I think a lot of things, lot of these things have been covered while I was speaking. So I think it is like the community thing, like how, so I believe a lot of competitors like Audible is there or any, like even from the US, a lot of competition has come. So the most of the content creators are leveraging the content which is already available from PGC content creators, like from media houses, or they are working with high quality content creators to create the content. So this is a mainly transactional kind of business or platform which they are building. But what Headfone is doing, Headfone is developing and nurturing UGC content creators, the individual content creators, to become professional content creators. So Headfone is a platform with the journey, because we truly believe that a PGC content creator has not been a PGC content creator from the day one. He has become PGC content creator on a platform. I mean, if you look at a video like stand-up comedians or web series, the artists we see on the web series, they have become PGC content creators on YouTube. YouTube has created them. So this is like, we have a journey platform, and we also got so many PGC content creators. It's not like we don't have PGC content, but it is like we have a continuous supply of our own PGC content creator that we are bringing in the market.
And how is the consumption happening on the platform?
Yeah,
like, are there people really consuming this user-generated content that also offers you a lot more diversity, versus is it mostly like professionally generated content? Can you, some color on that?
So let's say if we divide, I mean, not let's say, but let's divide the content creator into 3 buckets for now. One is UGC, second is semi-UGC, PUGC what we call, and the third is PGC. So we see most of the consumption happens on this PUGC content creators, not PGC content creators. The PUGC content creator has the major consumption thing going on. And the reason why it is going on, exactly what Krishna was telling, the diversity. So first of all, what is this PUGC content creator? I think I should explain you in detail. There is individual content creators, and there are media houses like Hindustan Times, IVM Podcast. Like, there are a lot of good podcasting companies out there in the market. But what is PUGC? PUGC are the content creators. Most of them have been a UGC content creator on a platform. But now they have identified the taste of the user, and now they have created a professional kind of channel. Like, I can give you one example. There was a guy who was telling his stories. He is the guy from tier 5 city of Rajasthan. I mean, he doesn't even have a courier service in his town. And he was telling his stories, like normal stories. But what he has found, that people find him as a motivational speaker. They were asking, like, please give something, you motivate us. And now he has created a channel and he named it as a Winner Foundation. This is the channel, like Winner Foundation. And he said, like, I will make you winner. And he speaks a very good quality Hindi, Marwadi dialect. Look at like Hindi, Marwadi dialect and all these things. And he creates a very good quality content, and he has more than 50,000 subscribers. And this is where we see most of the consumption. So why we are getting most of the consumption on these players? 2 things. One, they bring diversity. Like, media houses cannot bring so much diversity. They are limited to some extent, right? So they bring diversity. Second is they bring relatability also. Because like professional podcasts, they talk about business, even cryptocurrency, blockchain, politics, elections, these. But this guy is talking about how you can derive a motivation from a sweet shop also. This is how his story is like. And this is why, and third thing is, since this PUGC content creator has grown up on our platform, so we have so much data about them. And so that we can do better job in personalizing their content. So this is why we get so much consumption on the PUGC side.
Wow, that's a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
You mentioned the tools, and I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that because you're almost creating these professional level podcasters, is what you're saying. So what are the tools that you have provided people to help them do this?
So actually there are tools which we are still building, but right now the tools are like, you come to your platform, you can just simply record from one click. And if I'm saying simply record, it means you record. Once you finishes the record, I won't ask you that do you want to remove the noise or normalize your voice, fade in, fade out. We have a lot of technology built behind the wall which actually brings clarity to your voice. Let's say if you are speaking your mic, right, and you are speaking to something, and while speaking you have actually taken the mic a little bit farther, so your voice is just like fluctuating higher and lower. And this is what we normalize also, fade in, fade out. All these things are there. And the most important feature which we have is the associate music emotional quotient with your genre. So let's say if you have recorded something, and most people on our platform recording stories. So once you record stories, you have you have genre in your mind. Like if you're saying something, you might be sad, happy, motivational, patriotic, religious, whatever emotion you have, just tell us the emotion. And as soon as you tell the emotion, within 2 to 3 seconds, irrespective of the content, irrespective of the length of the content, we will add the background music to give emotional appeal to your content. So let's say if you say that I've told the horror story, horror background music would be added to your background to give the emotional appeal. So this is the kind of tools which we bring onto the platform. And this is on the mobile app with just few simple clicks, 3 clicks and you're done.
So your music doubles the horror quotient of the story.
Yeah.
Which for horror you definitely need.
Yeah.
Music is everything, I think, most of the time, a lot of the time. How has COVID impacted, your use case and your user base?
Mm-hmm. That's a very important point, because there are a lot of questions like how audio is being impacted. So there are few things which have changed and there are few things which are unchanged. So on the consumption side, it is unchanged, but the behavior is changed. Let me explain you in detail. So consumption has been happening during some of the activities which we do during the day. Audio is being listened when your eyes are engaged or tired. So let's say if you are doing commute and you are busy in your household stuffs like cooking or cleaning, and then you relax your eyes, you walk, and most important consumption which we see on headphone is like when you go to bed and you're about to sleep and you switch off the lights and you listen to stories. That's when we see. So the consumption has shifted during this COVID time. Now the commute time is missing. So that's why we don't see the consumption happening during the commute time, morning or evening time. But the consumption has gone up during this night time, because we are now seeing that people are sleeping late because they don't have to go to the office in the morning. So that is why we see the consumption growing during the night time. So this is the shift we are seeing. Secondly, on the content creation side, that is definitely spiking. That is definitely growing up, because now more people have the time and the stories to tell. So on the content creation side, it is growing. We have seen, it was growing always, but the growth has increased. The growth rate has been increased.
How has the retention been during these Corona times? Do you see a spike in retention, or in terms of engagement, time being spent on the platform?
So I think the Corona time doesn't have much impact. It is our strategy. So the retention has increased in the last 4 or 5 months, but I won't attribute that to anything related to COVID situation. It is everything to do what we have changed in our content strategy. That has improved the retention.
And what is that change that you made?
So actually what we have started focusing on, I'll give you the example of YouTube. So so there are two kinds of platforms. Generally, we try to mix the platform play with each other. So you have platforms, I would divide it into two: short format platforms and the long format platforms. Short format platforms are like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. These are the short format where the content is very short. The long format content platforms are Quora, Medium, YouTube, even Netflix. But Netflix is not a platform, but that is how we divide it. In a short format platform, you actually open the app, you can quickly consume the content, right? It's a 2 minutes of content you can consume anywhere, like you're walking or just like you consume the content. But with a long format content, look at YouTube. 9-10 years back when I was in college, YouTube was a weekly use case for me, because the content repository is very skewed to some movies, or some pirated movies, T-series music, or some political news. And it was not a daily use case for me. But now YouTube is a very daily use case for me, because YouTube has a lot more deep and diverse content repository. It has comedies, stand-up comedies, web series, cricket clips, all those things are coming on YouTube. So on Headfone, this is what we have changed, that we have bring the diversity and the depth in the content repository. Like previously people we are putting stories, but stories is a long format content. So they are consuming in the weekly pattern. But now with the stories, we try to club comedy clips. which is a short format comedy clips. And we have created our own comedy, and we have actually encouraged users to create comedy so that people can consume something regularly also. And Headfone would become a go-to platform in India. So this is how we have evolved.
And this is a question that gets asked for all the content plays, right? So what are your thoughts on monetization?
Yeah. Very crucial question, specifically in India. So
and from investors as well.
Yeah, especially from investors. Yeah. So actually, especially from investors, and actually, I should point this out, and from the content creators also. Like it's not only investors, because they also have the stake on the platform. Like why they also want money at some point of time, and this is the motivation is there, that there are some content creators which is at a level that they are investing all their time creating the content, and I don't see they coming on our platform or any platform for free, because they create premium script, premium audio shows. And this is what we are doing. So we are building the tools, we are helping them in the sound engineering, we are helping them in the music side, all those things. Like how, if they have the script, I'm just talking about one example. Let's say if a person has a good book or a good story to tell, and it is a very long series, so we help them into creating the shows, and this is what we are working on. And these shows would be put on our platform as a premium content in partnership with them. So yeah, just like you see Hotstar, right? Hotstar has a lot of free content, but the paid content also. On YouTube also, YouTube Red is launching premium content, even though YouTube is a very free platform, but Red has a lot of premium shows.
Yeah, and I think this is becoming like a career opportunity as well. I see people putting YouTube influencers or influencer as a title, even on LinkedIn from several people. So yeah, I think we'll be getting
a new career path. I think question for both of you, just out of curiosity, how did Fosun become a part of Headfone's journey, and how has that journey been so far?
Yeah, I met Pratham February last year, 2019. We met in the Axelor Transit office. Axelor was a seed investor in the company. And VG has connected us, and I think it was one of the fastest deal that we have actually done in Fosun RC. So I met both Pratham and Yogesh there, and we closed the investment in the month of June, and from there I think the company has grown fantastically well. They have grown like 10-11 times from last June to this June, and also while maintaining consistently the engagement levels that the audience spends on the platform. So yeah, it has been a fantastic journey.
Yeah, on my side, yeah, I won't say the introduction part because that is the same. Krishna has told the truth. So yeah, so that is one thing. But on the other side, like with the partnership with Fosun, so we come from the technical background. And technical background also include product. So I think we have been very focused on the product side. But even in the Axelor also, like how VG has helped and how Krishna is helping out, it's like tracking the goals and aiming on some metric. So this is like we usually have meetings every week, and this is how we track, like what do we have to track for next week, what have we done in the last week. And this has been one of the primary reasons why we have been growing very consistently over the time. The growth has not been a spike, it has always been like always growing. So
yeah, one of the things even when we were evaluating is the product focus that both Pratham and Yogesh had. It was a 2% company when we invested.
Right now also it is 7% company. Yeah.
7% company, right? So for a platform kind of a play, it is very important that you focus on the product and let all the stakeholders get attracted to the platform. The platform has to be able to sell by itself. Right? Otherwise, you can spend a ton of money on marketing and lose literally millions of dollars in being able to do that. And when we saw at the time, I think they were number one in terms of the daily active users, and they have been able to do that completely organically. They just raise like 10 lakh rupees before us coming in. So this product focus from both Pratham and Yogesh is what attracted us to invest in Headfone.
You were a software engineer at Facebook in Menlo Park. You were living the dream life.
Yeah.
But what brought you back to India to set up this company? What's that story?
Yeah, another dream actually. Yeah. So yeah, actually, so the story is very common for Yogesh and me. So I'm speaking for both of us because Yogesh has also worked at Facebook and he's from our same college. I mean, we even come from same states, Rajasthan. So so the story is like, first of all, like we really love India. I mean, we love the nitty gritty and the very, very minute aspect which we see in India. But we have gone to Facebook, and from the very initial point also, we were convinced with our approach that we are here or we are there in Facebook to learn, because Facebook is really a great company. Like if I still look back, I have so many learnings from Facebook. It's a very genuine company, very good product sense, and very, very, very good co-workers. So I learned a lot. But over the time, we were also discussing that we wanted to do something of our own. Now we have the two options, whether we could do in US or in India. So two reasons why we have come back to India. One is we got directly hired from India. So we were on very, very basic H-1B visa, no special privileges. And to get a green card is a 15-year long process. So we couldn't think of that. This is one reason, but the primary reason was that we are able to relate to the problems in India in a much better way than we could do in US. And this is how we both are. So that's why we thought, like, let's come back to India. And about like the life and all those things, I mean, I think if you ask Yogesh has much better answer for this. Yogesh has like, life is better when you realize it. It is like, otherwise it cannot be better. So it's like, yeah, we thought like, okay, it's enough. We have some money in our pocket. Let's go back to India and start something. So.
And when you started Headfone, from conversations with you before, and then I watched a video online, you started by creating content yourself.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? And like, what was the content? Was that something you've been doing before? Or how did you start doing that?
No. We have no background in this, all this voiceover and dramatics and all those things. I have done a bit in the school days, but not in college. And I've always been a programmer and the product focused guy. But since we have come back, actually we both have realized that there are few things which we would need focus on to build Headfone as a great audio platform. Two were obviously technology and product. So technology is like the product should be very stable and very efficient, and the product is good features, good product mindset, which we have realized that we have to some extent. But on the content side, we knew that we have to groom ourselves. We really need to know the content very well, like how the content is being created. And first, when we were saying that, and I've told you in the beginning that audio was not democratized. People were creating the content in professional sound studios. Now, if you have to democratize the process, then we need to see that how the professional content is being created. And we need to learn those things and leverage those things in a very smart way with the technology that a normal people can have the studio quality content created directly from the app. So this is why I have spent so much time in doing voiceover. Like I've done so much voiceover. I went to the studios in Bangalore. There, I went to the studios. I did voiceovers. I did voice recording. I learned Hindi, English. I mean, I know Hindi, English, but to have a good pronunciation. And Yogesh, on the other hand, has spent so much time in the sound engineering. Like if someone knocks your door, you should feel like that the knock is there in the audio. So this is how we have put a lot of efforts in building up our own content, and we have created 2 of our own original series, and we have done the script writing also. So we have done the script writing also, that how the stories should be told. One point, the stories which is written in a book, if you tell that same thing in an audio format, we call it as an audio book. But it is not an audio. You are not taking everything which you can leverage in the audio. For example, let's say if there is a sequence where I have to say that a horse is running, or that let's say if there is a scene that I woke up, I opened my door and I knock on my friend's door. This is the sequence. So I won't say in Hindi कि मैं उठा, मैंने gate का दरवाजा खोला और मैंने knock किया. Most of the things should be with the sound. That woke up sound is there, knock sound is there. So this is why the script should have been written in such a way that you are using the sound effects with the script. So this is what we have learned. And we have created 2 series. Both of them were on the thriller side. So these are all thriller series.
Very nice. And Pratham, we have spent a lot of time discussing Headfone. I'm sure over 100 hours in the last 1 year. Who is Pratham outside of work?
Oh, yeah, outside of work. Yeah. So outside of work, outside of work, I spend most of my time. I have a very, 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 very peculiar, strange interest. Like I love playing chess. That is one thing I spend my time on. And also, like I love a lot of this mythological content.
Very cool.
I'm in love with those contents. So I love reading those kind of books. I actually try to take a lot of inspiration and motivation for myself from the things which are not around. I mean, which is in the past, which is in the history. So yeah. So this is
very cool. Yeah. Very cool. So none of your activities are actually impacted by COVID then.
Yeah.
Either business or personal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you play chess online mainly, or do you have like a group of friends you play with?
No, online.
Online. So then you have COVID problems.
No. I don't wait for friends. Yeah. Anyone playing in yeah. Actually, this is also one of the things which I've learned in Facebook. So my teammates has actually motivated me to play the chess, because they used to play Bug House. Bug House is a 4-player chess. Like you are a team of 2 versus 2. And they used to take me. Pratham, just come with us and we will play chess together. And then I realized, okay, this is a very, very, very good game, because the chess is a very unique game which is not based on any atmosphere or any probability. It is totally the steps you take. Exactly the steps you take. It's not like if I'm playing cricket and there's some flies coming in front of my eyes or the light is not good. You can't make excuse while playing chess. So
that's a great life mantra.
Yeah.
So any last questions on thoughts you'd like to add, Krishna?
No, I think, it has been fantastic working with Pratham and Yogesh at Headfone. So, and I think the growth has been tremendous, and lots of opportunities significant amount of opportunity actually lies in the future. So, I wish Pratham and Yogesh all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks Anushka for taking the time.
Of course, no, thank you for taking the time. You're the one who's building a company.
No, everyone is busy with it. Yeah.
For our audience that's watching this, we plan to continue these conversations with Fosun portfolio companies. So if you enjoyed this, please stay tuned for more. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you.